etc, etc. So I'm gonna use a tag called aside in order to simulate something similar. So I'm doing this actually outside of the main tag, but it is still within the main body. So I'll create an aside tag, and inside of it I'll create another h1, and I will call it popular. That will just be the heading to say that these are the popular articles. So it will be on top of the article section. And then I will create another link tag, and yes, inside of this link I will create a div, and then this div I will give it a class of aside. Okay, so I will call it aside content, aside content, and then inside of the div I will create an h3 element, and then I'll say forms. So this just means, or I can say, let's just say tables. Yeah, I'll just say tables. Yeah, tables that's the most popular topic. Let's just say, yeah, that's what that means there. And so I will close it, and so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go and add some styles to what we've created here, to like this aside section. So like you see, created the h1, which should be the title, to say that everything that is underneath this heading is part of the popular title, popular lessons or articles. Then the next one will be I'm just gonna basically duplicate this just to create like the different blocks. I'll just duplicate, take that and just duplicate. And what I'm also gonna do is inside of the link tag I'm gonna create a class, and what these class name will be, will just basically a class style that will just apply to all these links, the ones that are part of the aside. Okay, so yeah, so all of these links have a class of aside link. So this is what this link is as part of the aside or popular articles. So now I'm gonna go back to my styles, and just start adding styles to that. So let's do this. Check this out. The last time we stopped at topic block article h1. So that's the last style that we applied, and so I'm gonna create a style for my aside element. So I'll give it a width of 35%, and I will give it a padding at the top. The padding will be 30 pixels. Okay, and then I will go to my aside link. Class aside, aside link. And then I will remove the text decoration line. Remember, because it's a link tag, it always adds line to the text inside. So this is, if you don't like the text, the line, the underlining, this is what you do to remove it. Text decoration line, and then you just declare it none. And then we'll access the h1 element inside of the aside element. So say aside and then h1. This is, again, you remember, this is like the address of, this is how you get to the h1. You're going to look for an h1 tag which is inside of an aside element. And so in there, I'm once again gonna align the text, to say text align center, and I'll say give it a margin, and the margin will be 20 pixels, and font size, font size will be 30 pixels, yeah, and aside content, and then that should be the last one, aside content, and then yeah, this is the style. I'm going to give it a background color of you see, I like this. So this is the other method that I told you about, RGB. Well, last time what I said, I told you about RGBA, right? You can either use that RGBA, and that'll be 245. I'll give it 245, and 245, and then I'll say 1, right? And yeah, this will be the color that the background color that's going to be assigned to my aside content. So it's going to be yeah, that looks, it's a grayish color. It's like a light gray color. And so I'm going to add some padding, 5 pixels of padding. Wait, padding, say 5 pixels of padding. I'm gonna add margin to the right of, I'll make it 50 pixels to the right, and then margin to the left, and then I will make that 25 pixels, and then I'll create margin at the top, no, sorry, at the bottom, margin at the bottom, and then I will give it 20 pixels, and then I'll create a border. Now borders, like all the others, 1 pixel and solid, and then I will give it the color gray, right? So this is what we've got, fellas, or people, everybody. Oh, but this is actually funny. Why only one of them? Or is it just my eyes? Yeah, wait, I'm just gonna check to see what it is that I've done here, because I don't know if it's just my eyes, but like one of the text is black and then the other two have a funny color. So we'll just see what that's about. Yeah, okay, well, let me just catch my train of thought there. Just wanna go back. Let me have a look. Okay, now that's what happened. Like one of the angle brackets was deleted, so I just had to put it back. So as you can see, so now we have the tables on the side. Now these represent the elements which are supposed to hold all the popular topics or all the popular lessons. So these are also links, so you can click on them. Well, at the moment there isn't really an address, so you can just click, but it's basically undefined, so it will just call itself all over again. But basically these are the styles that we just assigned. As you can see, the gray color which is in the background, that's what we assigned to the background color. I'll just go back to the styles, and then I'll just make this big so that we can go over it again, and then I'll explain again, so you can understand everything that we just did. Okay, so basically this is the whole element, the aside. I gave it a width of 35, which is why it's occupying just 35% of the width on the screen. So the reason why I'm using percentages is that, as I said before, because I'm using flex, then when you resize the page, then it will just resize accordingly, right? So it will just basically adjust itself to whatever percentage of the page is. So if it's 35, it doesn't matter how small it is, to just use the 35% of that particular size. So that's how that works. So inside the aside link, I removed the text decoration line. Like I said before, anything that is within the link tag will always have an underline by default. So if you don't want it, then you just remove it. That's what that does. Aside H1, the text is aligned to the center. I gave it a margin of 20 pixels, and the font size is 30 pixels. So it will always be basically any H1 tag that's inside of an aside element will always be 30 pixels. And in the class aside content, I gave it a background color of gray. Well, this is the one that you see here, and then I give it a pattern of 5 pixels, margin to the right, margin to the left, margin to the bottom, and then the border is 1 pixel thick. solid, and then gray. Basically, these are part of the predefined colors in CSS. As you can see on the top in the background color, I used the Rgba way of assigning colors, and it gave it a lighter gray. Basically what this does, it gives you more control over the colors. And then you've got your predefined colors, like for instance gray. It's more of a darker gray, so every time you use gray it will give you this kind of gray. But if you want to make adjustments to the type of gray that you want, then it will be better to use Rgba, or you can use basically like a hexadecimal code. But like I said, that's way too deep. I will get into that another time, but at the moment I just want to keep it brief, simple, so that you can just get your hands dirty, be able to do something, and then practice. And this is the only way that you're actually going to learn anything. So now let's look at what we've created here. So at the end of the day, we've got this beautiful, nice layout. This is a typical web page layout. We've got your code art philosophy. This is where you would have your logo or the name of your company, your website, whatever that may be. And you've got these buttons over here, which would be the different lessons. So if you wanted to go to all the individual lessons, you can just assign them to a specific page where you just get information about that specific topic. And here you've got a heading. This is where I use the h1 tag. This is what you would usually use it for, as a heading or a title of a particular topic or introduction to a page. Once again, here I use the HTML lesson topic. This is an h1 tag, and then inside here I used an h3 tag, which is a lot smaller, more of a subtitle, something that you would use for a subtitle. Okay, so this is basically what all these styles have done. And let me have a look once more at any other adjustments that we could make, or if we are actually done with this baby. Oh yeah, yes, one more thing, because as you can see on the side section, well, the text is not aligned to the center. It kind of looks horrible, so it's to the left. I could shift it to the right, but well, I just want everything centered. So now we're gonna go back to the styles, and we're gonna target specifically the h3 tag. So how we're gonna do that is I'm gonna go to the aside. I'm gonna say aside, the class of aside, and then I'll go to content. And then inside the content element, I'm going to target the h3 tag. And then inside there, we're going to align the text to the center. And then we're going to give it a color of black. It's already black by default, but I'm just going to make it black. It's actually not black by default, because we have a link tag over it. Then it's a kind of purple bluish color. So that's why I want to give it a color of black, so that it can be nice, black and crisp. Okay, so when I refresh, there we go. So now the text has been aligned and the color has been changed. So yeah, it seems like our styles are working just fine. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna add a footer. Now, with each and every web page you should be familiar with what a web page looks like. You've got your header, but always at the bottom there's always some information, some media, social media links that you can click on, but they usually put them on the footer, or just more information about the website, whether it's a company or not. But yes, a footer is a typical part of a web page. So now we're going to add that, so that we can bring this lesson to completion, and then you can understand all the different elements that we added. And then this method right here, this is what you would do for any website. Doesn't matter what it's for. This is the basic layout for it. And then the rest, well, it's up to you. Just have to use your imagination. So just take everything that you've learned, play around with it, be creative, and see what you can come up with. Okay, let's get to the further. Let's not waste any more time.